Larissa, you've also heard, or trying to hear from friends and folks you know in Ukraine. How's it going for you to be in communication with folks? Let's start there.
The communication is pretty well at this time. There is some technical problems, but communication is well. I talked to my mom. She said they lost television over there because the bomb hit the TV station with all the antennas, and they cannot see any news, but they can get on radio right now.
Okay.
But we communicate through Viber, so it's using internet data, so that works. So
Ah,
that works, and that's really helping. My mom, just near Kiev, she's in Boyarka, which maybe like 20 miles away from Kiev, and the bombing, and she hears everything. It's goes here and there. It's very loud. When I talk to her, I see her going down, trying to, that reflex humans have when you hear bombs hitting the ground.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, I was able to reach actually yesterday to my cousin who's in Berdyansk by Militopol, where is the big fight is going on also. Yes, and that was so relieving. So I knew that they okay at this time, but they ready to step in and fight. They ready to do civilian defense. They all ready. They just can't believe that all this happening, that insane situation is going on, and there is not much help around.
Right, exactly.
Struggle
Um,
over there.
Natalia, you're also a filmmaker, I should mention, as well as the president of the Ukrainian Americans of New Mexico, the group that is here. Of course, you're all members. I should point out.
Yeah.
Tell us about your family situation and how you're able to contact folks in Ukraine. Has it been difficult? Are you hearing from the people you want to hear from at this point?
Yeah, we have actually really difficult situation. My relatives and friends right now in Kiev and Chernigov region, and in Kiev we have a like little town, beautiful little town, 10 miles from Kiev, and Russian troops. The last 2 nights they bombed them for 8 hours. I lost connection, and we of course have a communicate with them on Viber. It's only thing, but I lost communication with them for a day, and I didn't know what happened to them. And my friends sent me pictures. They actually like a tape, sent me messages on Viber. Because we are in a group in our building apartment, and they like, I see what they type in. They say, "Why? What we have to run? What we should do? There is a bumping," and other people say, "No, you have to stay to home because we couldn't go out." And people completely like, some say, "My kid is crying. I don't know where I should hide them." It's all really, 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 really sad and difficult because of Bucha. It was really beautiful city, beautiful city, and they destroyed city completely. It's very, very sad to see those pictures.
Mm-hmm. Are there guys? I'll ask everybody, but I'll start with Natalia on this. I know the TV station, that one TV station tower is down. Did that hold all the TV stations in Ukraine? Is there another way to get up in your native language? You can hear some news. Is there a way to get that done now?
It's just only one, but we have actually in Bucha, we have a small station,
Okay.
it helps to spread the information, just in the local.
Mm-hmm.
But the main TV station, it's freaking,
Yeah.
and I don't know actually, do they have any news right now on TV in Kiev, especially?
Right.
I don't know, because I couldn't get connections with all my relatives for now. I lost connection with them.
Gotcha.
They're bumping Kiev terribly.
Mm-hmm. George, I was watching to get ready for I watch it all the time, Al Jazeera and France 24. Their coverage is very much on the ground. For folks in the States who have been watching this, we're talking about the human side of this, of course. Was this a huge surprise the way Mr. Putin went about this? Or as far as we knew in the States, it was just those two regions that were in dispute. And now suddenly the whole darn country is under attack. Was this a surprise for Ukrainians that he tried to go for a whole bite here?
Before I go into that, I just want to comment a little bit about the news and how people can see what's going on who are in Ukraine.
Mhm.
There is right now, like all the big media companies in Ukraine are banded together and then doing a 24-hour marathon broadcast with the 2-hour shifts from different stations changing, and it's being live on YouTube on several channels, and most of Ukrainians who has internet access can see that live TV feed all the time.
Okay.
But in places which are close to the actual heavy fighting, the signal and the internet, mobile internet, is not available. So that's the thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, it's like a big thing to unpack. It's more like a geopolitical expert kind of question, but the way we see it, this was always where it was headed. Like at least some of the Ukrainians or people who are analyzing the situation, they saw it from 2007 from Putin's regional Munich speech that was declared out loud for the first time, the intent. And I think like some of the West still like misunderstands that this is not just about Ukraine. Of course, Ukraine is an important part of identity of Russian Empire to be. So this is the part of Russian Empire. But the understanding I wanted to bring up and like people to be more aware of, there is an ideology behind this.
Mhm.
And there is a figure whose name is Dmitry Dugin. He is an ideologist of a very far right, like almost fascist-like ideology, and a lot of his ideology has a big sway into. You can say he's a Steve Bannon of the ultra-right of the Kremlin regime currently.
I see.
And with there, that the philosophy is not about just Ukraine; it's about destroying the liberal democracy. It's a crusade.
Mhm. I have a question, another poli-sci sort of question. We just got to get through some of these, unfortunately, because it's kind of the way these things go. Larissa, what do you make of Belarus getting involved here? I think that to me, that was like just out of the blue. How does this complicate the situation for folks living in Ukraine to have Belarus coming over the border like this?
It complicates the situation big time because it's spread of their attacks, because they're attacking from 3 sides. Now it's going to be even stronger attacks hitting north of Ukraine. And that's, of course, not fair because Belarusian people, they don't want the war. We had a protest meeting yesterday by government building in Santa Fe. We had Belarusian people. We had people from Lithuania coming to support us. We know Belarusians don't want it. They've been pushed by their government, by Lukashenko. And Lukashenko is Putin's puppet. That's how Putin wants. He wants to have puppets all over Soviet Union, former Soviet Union. He wants all it back. And that's what he creates. He lost Yanukovych, who was his puppet on Ukrainian territory, and that's why he got mad. And that's what created the situation. And he was developing it until now, until he found that he's ready to strike, and he did it. Mm-hmm. And we all scared, and we pray to God. We asking for government help here in America, everywhere, to stop that, because he's not going to stop. He's going to go for the world. Yep. It's not over. We're all in danger.
Natalia, could you pick up on that same situation? I mean, Belarus coming over the border complicates everything. NATO is now, staged. American troops are going over, not to fight, but to help in other ways too. Your sense of what's happened now that Belarus has crossed and the things have escalated to a all new level here.
The Lukashenko, like Laura told before, he will stay with Putin because he don't have a choice, because he know what happened. after he left the Putin, because Belarus people, Larissa called Belarusian, they will have a revolution. They definitely, because nobody wanna have a president for 20 years like a Putin. To be president, it's for 20 years. It's a not democratic country at all. Yeah, and if you what really we need from government, so United States government, it's NATO can help establish a no-fly zone over Ukraine, prevents Moscow from shelling civilian and military objects in Ukraine with guided missiles over planes, helicopters, drones. It's really important. It's the first what we need to stay to ask government, please help establish no-fly zone. It's the most important for now.
George, I'm curious. I want to pick up on what Natalia was just saying. But the idea, I'm thinking about the State of the Union speech last night from President Biden. And just a real simple question to start this off. Were you satisfied with the president's response during the State of the Union speech last night?
I'm embarrassed to say that this is the things I always follow, but not at this moment, because my capacity to. So if you can just point out what were the most important things, I'll be able to respond.
Not a problem at all. Let me actually kick that to Larissa, and you can listen in and kind of come back. Larissa, he did obviously talk about Ukraine, very tough on Putin, but talked a lot about sanctions, and that was about it. Were you satisfied?
Yeah, I know that most of the world, Europe and Biden, they all are trying to isolate Putin financially, and that means a lot, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We need more. We need physical help, not the fighting, but at least bring in equipment, the tanks, whatever, airplanes in faster, because it's way too slow. They don't get enough. And they need bulletproof vests. They need protection so they can fight, not die over there.
That's right. And as George, you might recall last week, the president of Ukraine said, I don't need a lift, I need arms. I don't need a ride out of here, I'm staying. And so again, I guess we're leading up to an obvious question here. For the allies of Ukraine, allies of NATO members, whatever the case may be, is there a step you personally would like to see all these entities take in this situation here soon?
It's a tough one, because we absolutely Ukraine suffers from these bombardments and a lot of civilian population. Like on the ground, our forces are really holding back this huge army, and they're doing a great job of it. But the protection from the sky is what hurts the civilians and hurts the army morally. I mean, it's horrendous. It's actual war crimes. So what we're seeing. So of course we want to have a no-fly zone, but we also understand that means direct military confrontation with Russia, which is everybody's trying to avoid. So it's a tough one. I don't know. We would like to have it. I don't know if it's possible.
It is a tough one, isn't it? It is a tough one, because the second something starts, it is World War III, and that's a difficulty. I hear you.
What it is, may I say just one quick thing? What is possible is to establish a humanitarian freedom, what we call a freedom bridge. Basically, we need to have a very direct, fast delivery to Lviv, let's say, of aid and equipment and medical supplies. So we need that can be provided, because this is not a military operation.
Right. That's a good point. That's a distinction. I'm glad you made that distinction. That's a good point. Natalia, let's talk about the organization. There were some. Larissa mentioned earlier at Santa Fe, there were some protests. Tell us of what happened over these past few days, and if there are other protests planned for the New Mexico area that we should be aware of.
Okay, we already have demonstrations 1 month ago, because I knew Putin will invite Ukraine, and I called my friends, please have a food, to be prepared, but they they didn't believe it. They say, no, it couldn't happen. No. I say, please do something now. And we already had like 4 demonstrations. The first one, it was on January 30, I think, yes. And after the war started, we had 3 more demonstrations.
Mhm.
As for now, we try to, we already sent the letters to congressmen to have like, to get some information, because we wanna got a connection with Red Cross.
Mhm.
And we want to be ready when the refugees will come to New Mexico.
Mhm.
And we just try to organize everything, got the connections, rent the storages, looking, talking with the churches who can help us, and what kind of churches, because, actually the Russian church, Orthodox church in Santa Fe, they say, we will help you, and it's like very like, wow.
I guess I never thought about that. You're right. The church in Santa Fe. That's interesting.
Yeah, but some, we was
Yeah.
we were with a Russian Orthodox and the Ukrainian. They have some problems,
Mhm.
serious problems. Yeah, but it's so like, wow, when the father David from Santa Fe Church, he called me and said, Natalia, we can do it. I was so thankful for him.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Natalia,
he,
are there refugees planning? Well, it's hard to tell these things, of course, because the information's sketchy. But do you anticipate a wave of refugees coming at some point here to New Mexico as well?
if everything would be like what we know, they probably would be here. Some of them would be here tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week.
Right.
Yeah, some. I don't know how many yet, but I know they will come here to New Mexico. I think some, maybe many. I don't know how many for now, but I think some Ukrainians will come, and you don't have to worry about Ukrainians, because it's a intelligent, smart people, hard workers. It's what I tell you. There is no crimes.
Yep.
New Mexico supposed to be like, be safe with Ukrainians.
It's interesting you say that. I'm smiling because, as you 3 probably well know, there's a theater company here in Albuquerque, Tricklock, that has done work with Ukrainian artists for a lot of years now, bringing over Ukrainians here. And I've had the good pleasure to interview and meet and have a lot of fun with some of the artists that have come. I couldn't agree with you more, Natalia. It would suit me fine if a whole bunch of Ukrainian folk came here. I'd be okay with that. Absolutely. Any last thoughts? I don't want to get you guys out and get back to what you're doing. George, let me start with you. What do Americans need to know, or Albuquerqueans or New Mexicans, what do we need to know about Ukraine at this point? Is there something missing that bothers you about the understanding of your country that you want folks to know?
Yeah, thank you. It's again a big one to unpack, but like something to be aware is, for example, that this war is also information war, and there's still quite a bit of misinformation floating around in the West, and even in big media reporting, sometimes the picture is a little distorted. We have a lot of these doomsday kind of scenarios that everything's going to fall. They were telling that Kyiv is going to fall in 2 days, and what I want to say is that it's good to be aware that there is a complicated situation to get your own sense out of it, and if possible, find their Ukrainian sources who are on the ground, who are doing very robust fact checking. Find the Ukrainians who report in English, and you can get a better picture of the sense of what is going on. Mm-hmm. The other things is, of course, put pressure on your local representatives and compel them to do the things that we talked about, what Ukrainians desire for protection, and to improve humanitarian situation. Also, I'm pretty sure we can leave some sources for donations for all kinds and for support the organizations, and and what kind of NGOs, because NGOs right now is on the forefront of that.
Right.
I witnessed what's happening in Poland and Ukraine through communication for volunteers when trying to accommodate my family. It's very amazing what they're doing. They just need all the help because they know what they're doing.
Wow. That warms my heart. I'm glad you said that. It actually made me feel good there in the middle of all this. Larisa, you have a unique position. You were there, of course, in the medical field, and you're in the medical field here as a nurse. I'm interested in your perspective. What don't we know here in the States about Ukraine that we need to know about? What's missing?
About Ukraine, we're missing a lot because it's complicated history where Ukraine were under Russian jurisdiction for the long time, and actually in 19th century, Ukrainian people were physically slaves of Russian nobles. And the dream of Ukrainian people was always to be free. And when Soviet Union broke off, and that unique chance became our opportunity, we grabbed it. And we were free for 30 years. And now we got taste of it. And no one can take it away from us. That's why our people fighting to the last breath, to the last drop of their blood. And they're gonna stand for their country because they know they want their freedom. They don't want to be puppet of Russia. They don't want to be colonial. They don't want to be, world didn't stop. It moves on. We've been free. You can't just come and tell us, hey, remember that time? I want you back. No, it's impossible. That's history drawn by people who's living in their country. History written by these Ukrainian people. They love their country. They don't want to give it up. Putin can do whatever crimes he's able. I know he's sending vacuum bombs. He dropping those, cluster bombs. Just cluster bombs. They directed for the civilians. They sending them around the hospitals, around the kindergartens. A lot of kids got killed because of the cluster bombs. Because when they explode, it shoots small bombs everywhere. That's what he does. He has to be held accountable for his crimes. Those weapons is prohibited. It's banned in the entire world. And he's doing it. Something has to be done. And he's not going to turn the history back. History moving forward. And we are free and we want to be free.
Absolutely. I appreciate those words so much. Natalia, how can we help as New Mexicans? Is there a place, a website, or Facebook page? What's the best place we could give our hearts to this situation?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, we have Instagram, we have a website. You can go and actually you can see what we've done before.
I can't thank you enough for your time. I know this is a very difficult situation. George Danilov, Larisa Castillo, and Natalia Pavlenko Edelman. She is the president of the Ukrainian Americans of New Mexico, and you two are members as well.